Okay. Hi, folks on the call. Welcome to my session, Dynamics 365 Human Resources and Business Continuity. I'm Kamal. I live in the Netherlands and work at Vision as a lead consultant. I specialize in digital HR transformation projects involving Dynamics 365 human resources and aligning it with the rest of the business application stack from Microsoft. What I've planned for today's session is to discuss about what Dynamics 365 Human Resources is all about and the capabilities it brings to the table, and also to understand how it aligns with the rest of the business application stack and Power Platform architecture, and spend some time discussing about new normal that we are currently facing in terms of how the organizations are evolving with the pandemic and what Microsoft Digital Feedback Loop can help with the organizations and adopt to the new normal. The core of the session is to look at some of the practical capabilities of Dynamics 365 Human Resources and how it helps organizations manage employee data to drive some of the critical decisions to be able to translate into the future. A short disclaimer from my end, the views and opinions expressed in this session and my blog are my own and do not reflect anybody else or any other organization. Again, I'm a critically thinking human being and my views are subject to change from time to time. So let's first try to understand what human resources is about. Like Tomas said, it's not one of the key areas on the Dynamics front in the past. But when we look at a simple human resources process, what we are looking at on screen is a hire to retire life cycle of an employee. We have a company, Hogwarts Manufacturing, which has backed a new project. And the managers in the company realized that in order to deliver the new project, we need more employees in the organization. And they reach out to the HR team with job requisitions. And the HR team will go to the market and publish the job requests into different job portals and conduct the recruitment lifecycle by making candidates go through a screening process, an interviewing process, and eventually they will end up with a successful candidate. That candidate is hired into the employee, and employee lifecycle kicks in with employee going through different parts of their lifecycle, such as performance management or leave in absence or time tracking, for example. And eventually, the employees either stay in the organization and retire or will leave the company and move into a different organization for better prospects. So this is a very short overview of how human resource process looks like at a basic level. When we look at how or what Dynamics 365 Human Resources is all about, it is a cloud-based software as a service application which is built to connect the experiences of a human resources professional, a manager, and employee together. And also it provides key insights to the HR professionals, such as how many employees have left the organization in the last 6 months and what are the reasons for those employees leaving the company, or to understand what are the recruitment requirements in the next 1 year and how do we plan that. And also, if you consider a key area such as skills, this application will help human resource professionals understand what are the key skills of the organization and what are the lacking skills that need to be planned for improvement in the coming period. These key performance indicators, I would say, will help HR professionals be part of strategic decision making for an organization and also drive some of the critical decisions with the executive team. When we look at the overall vision from Microsoft, the goal is to connect Dynamics 365 human resources with the rest of the business application stack and also Microsoft 365 application stack like Excel or Word and with Microsoft Azure, So that way, the customers who are going through the transformation phase feel they have a seamless IT solution experience with the overall application stack coming together. Next, let's try to understand what are the functional capabilities of Dynamics 365 Human Resources and how those functional capabilities help customers. So on the top right, we have organization administration, which is a functional area that helps the organizations define the legal and country structure, and also the department structure, which is more or less aligned with finance, for example. And also it has capability to divide the workforce based on jobs and positions, which will help in defining position hierarchy, for example, and classifying the jobs at a global level or at a local level. And then we have the area of personnel management, which is primarily area focused on HR administration of employee data, focused on this hire to retire life cycle. So what data will be captured by the HR admins for the employees and how that data changes over the life cycle of the employee. Compensation and benefits is a key area which will help in capturing data such as fixed compensation of the employees or variable compensation, and also benefits information that the employees are either part of or can be part of. It also has the capability to expose this information into employee and manager self-service, and also to keep it compliant with the local country regulations of many countries or most of the countries where we implement these solutions. When we look at leave and absence, that's a key area where Microsoft has invested heavily in release 2020 in order to improve the capability to meet the localization requirements of almost all countries across the globe, and also to improve the employee experience by adding features such as integration with Teams by enabling Power Virtual Agents capabilities, where the employee can go to Microsoft Teams to be able to check leave balance or to be able to request for leave directly from Teams. And also there are some key enhancements planned for in the roadmap. For example, integration of the leave and absence data with Outlook calendars so that the employee availability is easily available across the organization. Then when we look at system administration, it's an area that is mainly focused in helping the administrators of Dynamics 365 manage the application lifecycle and do other activities like enabling preview features or migrating data into the application or setting up email notifications and other features like that. The next area is reporting and analytics, which is a key aspect from a HR professional standpoint. And Dynamics 365 Human Resources ships with a standard set of amazing analytics that can be used from day one of the implementation, and it can drive value directly from the go live period. When we look at employee development, it's an area which is focused in helping employees, managers, and HR professionals manage goals or skills and performance review information. It also has some capability to support 360-degree feedback, where employees are able to share their feedback to impact the other employees' performance reviews. To end with, we have capabilities of employee self-service and manager self-service, which is focused in providing some key information to the employees and managers on the self-service portal of application so that they're empowered to do their job efficiently on a day-to-day basis. So that sums up an overview of the capabilities that Dynamics 365 Human Resources brings to the customers. In the next part, what we will look at is how Dynamics 365 as an application fits in with the rest of the business applications from Microsoft and with Power Platform. What we see on screen is Dynamics 365 Human Resources is one of the applications on finance and operations stack. And it works closely with finance or supply chain management or project service automation with the data integrators that Kyla and Julia were talking about in the earlier part of the session today. And it also connects with the first-party customer engagement applications such as commerce or sales or marketing and customer service. Again, based on the customer scenarios on what applications that are being deployed and what are the needs for integration. And this is the area that Microsoft is also progressively enhancing so that the integrations are a bit more smooth, and employee data is, of course, one of the key areas which is impacting all the applications on Microsoft stack. And then in order to support the extensibility requirements from customers, human resources application integrates or is part of Power Platform architecture as well via Common Data Service. It is primarily used to extend the application based on some specific customer requirements for localization or non-standard requirements that are coming through. There are two key areas that are important to be mentioned. So one is the artificial intelligence and insights enhancements that are coming through and impacting almost all applications on the stack, which are helping organizations move from reactive decision-making into a more data-driven proactive decision-making mode. And the other aspect is, of course, the investment in mixed reality applications, such as Dynamics 365 guides, which is one of the key areas that will help organization move into the new normal of having a more virtual organization and also adapting to the new market requirements in an efficient manner. That brings us to the next topic, which is new normal. With the impact of pandemic such as COVID-19, the way we do business is rapidly changing with more virtual living and embracing mobile and digital technologies across all organizations such as teams. And there's also, you can see that there's an increased focus on employee well-being and to improve the ways we engage with employees from time to time. And one of the key aspects is, of course, to empower all employees with data on self-service applications or teams, etc. And every organization is basically having a challenge to move into a more stable environment from now, and to one of the aspects that will help is to give more data access and more information to all employees and managers and also HR professionals. So that having that in mind, so what we are looking at next is the concept of Microsoft Digital Feedback Loop. All Microsoft business applications are built on this concept, with data at the center of everything and data being captured from all aspects of the business operations using different business applications. And once all this data is captured, it is fed into the intelligence layer of the application to predict what the end customers may need and understand how to achieve that result. So for example, if you consider the disruption that's currently happening in the car industry, car manufacturers realize that in the future, all customers are going to drive electric cars on a near future timeline. And if we have to meet this requirement as a car manufacturer, from a HR perspective, the key data that is important to understand is what the skills of the workforce are at the current level and how do we improve those skills to be able to meet this customer demand. And based on data like this, companies are able to make proactive decisions related to financial aspects or human aspects or operational aspects of a business to be able to reach a state where they're able to meet customer demands. With this background, what we will look at next is how Dynamics 365 human resources capabilities can help one to support some of the business continuity requirements in case of a disruption, and also how it can gather the data and help organizations take take more proactive decision making and move away from making some decisions when there is a pandemic going on or something like that. What we will do is look at the capabilities based on some personas like employees, managers, or HR professionals, and how Dynamics 365 Human Resources can help all these various personas in an organization make the best out of the business application. The first business continuity feature we are looking at is employee self-service, which will empower the employees to view and update personal information or submit leave requests and view team availability, and also view compensation and benefits data or find contact information of another employee using company directory on self-service. I have a short application demo to look at. What we are looking at is the landing page of Dynamics 365 Human Resources application. And we have different workspaces, and one of the workspaces is called Employee Self-Service. When I open Employee Self-Service as an employee, I see the department that I'm working on and the position title that I'm hired into. And I have a way to access my personal information. I can see my address, the contact details, and personal contacts. Personal contacts is one of the key areas where I, as an employee, can mention my dependent information and emergency contact information, which is a key information from a HR and employee perspective in case of business continuity. Then we have social security information and bank account information so that I have the capability to update them as and when it changes. I can also upload my image in my self-service portal. The next part of the capability is to be able to approve workflows or access company directory to find information of other employees, and to view team absence calendar. So there's a calendar capability where I, as an employee, can look at all the employees in my team when they're taking time off, so that I can plan my time based on that. And also this capability to request leave from self-service. So it's a quick and easy way to apply for leave, look at my balances, and submit it for approval. There's also capabilities where I can register for courses or look at the certificates that are expiring. For example, it can be a driver's license that needs renewal or something else. The next area, what we are looking at currently, is about performance reviews, goals, and skills. Skills is a key area to provide input to your organization, where you say, I'm having these skills at this level, so that the managers and HR leaders can take decisions on how to go about the skill development. We had a quick look at compensation information, and we are currently looking at benefits. So the new enhancements have e-commerce based shopping cart experience to help employees opt in and opt out of benefits. What we are currently looking at is sharing 360-degree feedback. I'm giving feedback as an employee to Aaron. We worked on a project, and I want to say kudos, so I can give a feedback, and that would trigger a notification to his manager. And it can also be part of the performance review of the employee with the manager. So that's a quick overview of employee self-service capabilities that are available on Dynamics 365 Human Resources. Next, we move on to the next feature, which is manager self-service, in which we will explore how a manager can view team information or approve leave requests and view team availability again using a calendar. And also there are some capabilities to manage performance and conduct skill gap analysis to understand which employee has what skills and compare it with the job requirement. Again, we have a short demo about this feature. So we are looking at the Dynamics 365 Human Resources landing page. I'm opening employee self-service again. If I'm a manager, I will be able to see my team tab, which is focused on manager self-service capabilities. The first style we are looking at is a way to access the leave requests submitted by the employees in my team and approve them. And the information about my team is organized in different tabs. We have a tab called position where I, as a manager, can see the amount of time an employee has spent on a particular position and what that position is, of course, and the compensation information of my team members. Then we have leave and absence information, what the leave balances are and when they're taking leave or time off. Then we have performance goals. So this is an area where I can get an overview of the status of the performance goals of each of my employees. And then we have reviews where I can start a particular performance review and take it forward. What we are looking at is a brief overview of all the information that's accessible against the team member. And in a similar way, I, as a manager, can also look at my indirect team. Same set of information organized in a similar way. So I'm currently looking at Benjamin's team, who is reporting to me. And the other aspect, like I said, as a manager, is skill gap analysis, which is a key area for managers and HR team members to be able to understand how employee skills are mapped to the current job requirements. So, for example, what we are looking at now is I, as a manager, did a skill gap analysis for Benjamin, who is part of my team, against a job called account manager. And I noticed that Benjamin is lacking skills in three particular area, and on one of the skill requirement called customer focus, he lacks one level lower. So this is a key aspect when it comes to making decisions on how to go about hiring people or skilling up people in my team. So all these come together in order to drive an organization into a data-driven decision mode. We go to the next feature, which is about reporting and analytics. There are 4 areas we have to consider when it comes to reporting and analytics on Dynamics 365 Human Resources. The first area is the standard Power BI reporting and analytics available out of the box. So we will have a look at it in the demo next. But also, if there are some custom requirements coming through from your customers, then there is capability to build some custom Power BI reporting using data from CDS or BYOD and other reporting capabilities that are coming up. Like all business applications, Dynamics 365 Human Resources, Workspaces, and Forms are seamlessly integrated with Excel through add-in or export functionality. So from a HR perspective, this is a great way to be able to export some raw data with the basic information that is needed to perform some day-to-day operational work. And in some cases, you may have requirements to be able to export historical data or for archiving or to do some critical analytics on an annual basis. So in order to fulfill those requirements, we can always use data management framework, which is again a standard data migration framework, which is available on all applications or all business applications from Microsoft. So let's quickly look at the capabilities in a demo. What we are looking at again is a landing page, and this time we will be accessing the application as a human resource administrator, and we will look at the workspace personnel management. So I'm opening the personnel management workspace, where I have different tabs, and one of the tab is called Analytics, which will open the standard out-of-the-box Power BI analytics that ships with the product. Once we are in a live situation, and also during the testing phase, of course, this is available out of the box, and the HR teams can go through it, understand what information is available. For example, we are looking at open positions by department, which is a key information to drive the recruitment requirements. Now we are looking at FTE by department, which is split based on position types. There are some numerical analytics that shows the total headcount, FTE, or the attrition percentages. So all of these analytics can be put in a focus mode, add some filters to it, and also dynamic filtering criteria. For example, when I want to look at the data for a particular department, I can select that, and automatically the rest of the analytics refreshes to show that data. Then we go to the next report that's available, which is more focused on headcount analysis. So I can see headcount based on managers and jobs, or top 10 jobs in the company, and also how my workforce is spread geographically. So what we're looking at is the headcount based on geography. So I'm looking at France, for example, and it's basically a bubble chart, and I can zoom in and zoom out. In the same way, we have FTE analysis. So this is a bit more detailed. So it's FTE based on departments, split by position types and jobs. Then we have workforce demographics. So this is, again, from a US perspective, it's one of the key metrics on the HR side. So we are looking at the employee split based on marital status or ethnic origin and veteran status, and also looking at the languages that the employees speak in the company. Then we go into the position analysis, where I can look at some detailed information, for example. So the data, what we see here is position split based on departments with basic employee data. There is capability to download this information into Excel also. Then we are looking at attrition analysis, which will help us understand the reasons for attrition and the percentage of attrition. And we had people by department seniority analysis, where you can look at employee seniority in the company and employee anniversaries. If you want to celebrate anniversaries and birthdays, there are also standard analytics that is available for quick information about it. That's a quick overview of the capability we have standard out of the box that can be used by customers. In the next business continuity feature, we will explore a bit more about the personal management workspace in itself, which gives HR professionals some key information, such as the recent employee activity, how many employees have you hired, how many employees are terminated from the company, or what are the new positions created, and what are the changes that are happening at a position level. Are there any manager changes or department changes that are happening in the company? And also, there's an easy way to look at all the open positions in a global organization, adding filters to it, etc. And one of the key things from a HR administration standpoint is to follow up on some of the key data points, such as renewal of safety certificates in a typical, let's say, manufacturing organization, or to follow up on the renewal of driving licenses. So that can be done using the expiring records functionality. And we also have a capability to look at all the address changes. So in a scenario where we have employees having access to employee self-service, and a particular employee moves from one place to another, he can go into self-service and make a change in his address. And it is key for the HR to get a notification about it. So there's an easy way to access that. When we look at the application itself, let's see. We are again navigating to personnel management workspace. So what you're seeing is employee activity tab, where I can see the recently exited employees. So for example, Harry was terminated in the last 30 days. Then we have employee changes, which will give an overview of different actions that are happening, hiring, termination, etc. And in a similar way, position changes. This is the open positions I was talking about. You can get an overview of all the global open positions in the organization. The expiring records is a quick overview of expiring certificates, identification, or probation period that is upcoming for employees, etc. The top right corner shows address changes. So that's so every time an employee is changing the address in self-service, it would add to this number, and it would show up to the HR to be able to take some operational actions. So maybe the HR has to administer the change in a different application, or send it to a benefit vendor or a payroll vendor, for example. That's an overview of personnel management workspace and the capabilities it brings to the customers. What we're looking at next is a feature of how the data is secured on the HR application. Like all Microsoft applications, Dynamics 365 Human Resources works with Azure Active Directory and single sign-on functionality. So the employees and the HR teams who are accessing the application is secure via Azure AD. And also from a data access perspective, all the data is segregated based on legal entities, which will allow us to meet most of the country regulations on employee data, that the HR from a particular country is able to access the data only from the employees of that country. So this is a quick overview of the way Dynamics 365 Human Resources helps in securing employee data, which is of course the most sensitive in an organization. What we're looking at next is about some of the features that will help in achieving GDPR compliance, like embedding legal and privacy URL of the company on employee self-service or in an easily accessible way on the application. And also adding some extra data fields to capture employee consent. For example, you want to capture a consent where the employee can say that his photo can be shared on official documentation of the company or something like that. There are, of course, more capabilities and extensibility options with Power Platform. And typically, we explore them during the solution design phase to support some of the country requirements or non-standard requirements that are coming through from customers. When we look at other business continuity areas, like leave and absence, or performance management, or compensation management, and benefits management, they contribute quite significantly, meeting many local country requirements. And also they capture a lot of key employee data. And Dynamics 365 Human Resources is equipped to manage almost all the requirements from customers across the globe. So I do write a blog about them. It takes a lot of time to go through all of them on sessions. So I write a blog about them on nocodehr.com. And you can also connect with me on social media and get in touch to discuss and understand more about them and any latest updates coming from Microsoft also. That more or less sums up the content that I wanted to share in terms of how Dynamics 365 works and what it helps in terms of how it helps employees or managers or HR professionals. I want to thank all the sponsors of today's event, 365 Saturday, Bonaire, European Collaboration Summit, and Microsoft. And also a special thanks to 4Vision, my employer, who's encouraging me and supporting me to be part of community. You can contact me on my email, kamal@nocodehr.com, or on social media, like I said. Some references for some of the topics that I spoke about. I think that's about it from my end, and I'm open for any questions.